I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land and by paying my respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, traditions, cultures and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people across the nation. I extend my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today and recognise their continuing connection to land, water and community. I acknowledge their history of wisdom, resilience and survival, and respectfully thank them for their contribution to the life of this city and this region. Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 13th of September 2023. And for those of you who tune in regularly, you'd be aware that I'm not Mayor Darren Power. Unfortunately, Mayor Power is currently unwell. I'm Deputy Mayor Laurie Karansky and I'll be filling in for him today. And if he happens to be watching, we wish you a speedy recovery, Mayor Power. I'd like to declare this meeting open at 10 a.m. and advise meeting attendees that this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. Can the gallery please be upstanding if you're able to join me in a moment of contemplation. September is the first day of spring and it brings with it longer days, warmer temperatures and a flourishing landscape. But spring also offers something far more valuable. It's a renewed sense of hope and a sense of well-being. The change of season, winter to spring, serves as a reminder of the impact small changes can have upon our lives. The shift from cold winter days to spring's gentle embrace embodies nature's ability to rejuvenate and reinvent itself. Much like nature, our lives can benefit from incremental changes that may seem small at first, but collectively make improvements to our mental health and our overall well-being. Spring also provides an opportunity to break free from the hibernation-like routines that often accompany winter. The small change of taking a daily walk, enjoying a picnic in one of Logan's beautiful parks, or simply opening the windows to let in a fresh spring breeze can boost moods and energy levels. These seemingly trivial actions serve as a catalyst for improved mental and physical health. As we approach Are You OK Day tomorrow, a day dedicated to checking in on the mental health of others, it's equally important that we turn our gaze to ourselves. I'd like you to consider whether you're really looking after yourself, because the truth is we can't truly support others if we neglect our own health and well-being. Small, consistent changes in our own self-care routines can have a profound impact on our ability to navigate the challenges that life presents. I ask you to please consider taking just a few minutes out of your very busy days to practice mindfulness, engage in deep breathing exercises, or reflect on the positive aspects of life. These small moments of self-awareness can foster resilience and emotional stability, allowing you to become a more effective source of support for yourself, but also for those around you. This season of renewal is an ideal time to assess our daily habits and introduce small adjustments that promote better health and better well-being. Small, consistent changes we make every day ultimately make the biggest difference in our lives. This spring, it is my greatest wish for you and your families, all the people of Logan, good mental health. Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Thanks, everyone. I note that Mayor Power, Councillor Bannon and Councillor Murphy are all leaves of absence for today. Can I have someone to move their leave of absence motion? Thank you, Councillor Hall. May I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? By show of hands, can I see all those who are in favour? Thank you, councillors. That has been unanimously supported. Condolences. I now refer to condolences. Do any councillors have any condolences to raise? I'll begin on my left. Thank you, Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you very much. I would like to pass on my condolences to Kathy Butt and the extended family on the recent passing of Alan. Alan was a husband, father, grandfather and great-grandfather and friend to so many in the Greenbank community. He was a much-loved member of the Greenbank 50 Plus group, and he had been attending since 2013, so quite a while. He was always there with a cheeky grin, loved to chat, and always loved to chat with regards to politics with me whenever I popped in. So I'd like to extend my sincere condolences to Kathy and her family on the passing of Alan. Thank you.
That will be done. Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Councillors, I too have a condolence I'd like to share today. It's with a heavy heart that I advise of the passing of Martin Corbley. Martin passed away in the early hours of Thursday the 7th of September, and I had the pleasure of getting to know him as a Division 4 resident and an ardent member of Rotary. I always found Martin to be kind, caring and incredibly supportive of the local community, and he'll be missed by all. But more than that, Councillor Murphy, who couldn't be here today, has asked me to pass on the following remarks to honour her loved Uncle Martin. As some of you may know, Councillor Murphy was Martin's niece and was very close to the family. And she has written, "Today I'd like to pay my respects to a wonderful man I've known for all my life. Martin was an intelligent, well-respected and caring man. He was a quiet leader, always in the background supporting and encouraging others to achieve. He's been part of the Beenleigh community since the early 70s when he made Beenleigh his home. He's been an invaluable asset to our community and has given back so much through Rotary, his business career owning and operating all type rentals, in his civic life and as an actor in the Beenleigh theatre scene, and as a great family member that he had built with his 3 sons. Martin was very active in Rotary, having served as a member of the club of Beenleigh for 21 years, and he served in the highest levels as club president, honorary committee member, and supported international service efforts. He was honoured by Rotary in being awarded the prestigious Paul Harris Fellowship for his work in the local community. In recent years, Martin, together with his wife Marion, had developed a passion for cruising the world, and that had filled them with many wonderful adventures. Those memories are now cherished by friends and family and those who travelled with Martin along his way. Martin lives behind his beautiful wife Marion and sons Aidan, Daniel and Brendan and their families. Martin will be sadly missed by his family, his friends and the community, and Councillor Murphy would also like me to please pass on her acknowledgement and thank you to the Logan Hospital Palliative Care team for the work that they've done, not only with her family but with families across the city. She's very grateful for their care. Councillors, I would now ask that you please be upstanding for a moment to remember those who have passed. Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Councillors, I now draw your attention to item 6.1, which is congratulations, and we have a very special acknowledgement today. We have a congratulations to report to consider. So I now refer you to item 6.1, acknowledgement of the 2023 Ministers Urban Design and Australian Institute of Landscape Architects Award. But before we open discussion, do any councillors have any conflicts of interest they wish to declare? No, there being none, it'll be my great pleasure to step up and present the congratulations. In the past 2 months, Council's been recognised for its commitment to the creation of innovative and vibrant public spaces in support of local businesses to improve livability and enrich our local communities. At the 2023 Australian Institute of Landscape Architect Awards, Council was awarded the Landscape Architect Award for Urban Design for the Beenleigh Town Centre Streetscape and Shade Solution. And secondly, as part of the Minister's Award for Urban Design, Council was awarded the Movement and Place Award jointly for the Logan Village Green Revitalisation and Logan Village to Yarrabilba Rail Trail. Both awards are a result of significant teamwork and collaboration across various council branches and working with design partners to deliver great design outcomes for the community to enjoy. I'd like to welcome the branch representatives who are here today to collect awards on behalf of their teams. And to begin, could we please invite up the Beanley Project Group? I'd like to invite Jen and Henny to come and collect the award. I'm a big fan of the work you girls do, you know that, so congratulations. Where's Jet? Oh, we might just grab a photo of you. That's okay. Just be a moment. Thank you, ladies. And to accept the Logan Village Award, I'd like to ask Paul, Tanya and Ashley to come forward. Well done. Very well deserved. You know what a big fan I am of that Logan Village. Thanks, everyone. Now, councillors, there should be a report motion up on the screen. There it is, up in front of us now. I ask if I could have someone to please move the motion. Thank you, Councillor Raven. I have a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Stemp. Do any councillors wish to speak to the motion? There being none, I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And that motion has been unanimously carried. Thanks, everyone. And we'll now open the floor to congratulation requests from councillors, and I'll begin on my left. Councillor Bradley.
Thank you. I have two congratulations this morning. If the CEO could please pass on congratulations to Ella and her team for the Springwood Wardrobe Rummage. It was a huge success for the community, and I believe there was talk at the time of maybe next time it'll be in Springwood Park, which would be an ideal location for that. Which is obviously being redeveloped at the moment. And another huge congratulations, and I'm not sure if this is the most recognised in the city for this particular lady. On the 2nd of September, Violet Withy, she turned 105. Yes, so I can remember attending her 100th birthday, and she was super excited to receive a letter from the Queen at the time. That was a highlight of her 100th birthday. But if congratulations please be forwarded on to Violet, that would be lovely. Thank you.
It will be done. Happy birthday, Violet. Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, through you, Madam Chair. In 1923, insulin was introduced as a treatment for diabetes. The Ten Commandments movie was made. The Walt Disney Company was founded, and Steve Sikovic was actually born. He turns 102 today. So a big happy birthday to Steve Sikovic from Logan Central. He loves his fresh fruit and veggies, visiting the local markets, and he's an absolute legend. Madam Chair, also Alan and Elaine Bennett celebrated 50 years of wedded bliss on the 7th of September right here in Woodridge. They raised their family here, they connect well with the community, and we wish them many more years of happy joy in marriage. So in mind for today. Thank you.
Incredible milestone. Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Russell, Councillor Raven, Councillor Hall, Councillor Fraser.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Denise Cameron of Boronia Heights, who turned 80 on the 7th of September this year. Denise is a much-loved member of the Oak Tree Boronia Heights community. She is a mother to 3 children and has many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Denise keeps herself active and young, playing cards, shopping online and talking politics. I hope you have a wonderful day, Denise, celebrating this milestone birthday, and I do hope you make 100 as well. Thank you.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Happy
and
birthday.
more, yeah.
Councillor Hermeyer, Councillor Stamp, Councillor Wilcox. All very good news today. Councillors, I now refer to the minutes of the previous Ordinary Council meeting, and I'd like to move that the minutes of the Ordinary Council meeting held on the 23rd of August 2023 be confirmed. Can I have a seconder for the motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Councillor Bradley's seconded the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Thank you, everyone. That's been unanimously supported. I now refer to declarations of conflicts of interest, and I note Councillor Raven has a prescribed conflict of interest. Councillor Raven, would you like to speak to your conflict? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor. I'd like to declare a prescribed conflict of interest in relation to item 5.2 in the Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee report. It's for Munster Services Group. There was a historic reference to their business in the confidential report, which was not discussed during the meeting, but in the interest of transparency and with an abundance of caution, I just wanted to declare that conflict of interest and say that I'll remove myself from any further discussions on that item, and I won't participate in the debate when it comes up through my committee. Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Do any other councillors wish to declare any new conflicts of interest against any items on today's agenda, including conflicts of interest which have subsequently arisen from matters discussed at committee? There being none, I'll now move on to the next item on the agenda. We have no business arising or from the minutes to consider, so we'll now move on to committees. I now refer to the sitting Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 5th of September 2023. Councillor Raven, Chairperson of the committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor. And as just discussed, I'll note that item 5.2 in the Economic Development Strategy's Annual Report 2022 to 2023 of this committee will be addressed later in today's agenda and separated from the bulk adoption of the recommendations due to my prescribed conflict of interest. If, with your indulgence, I'll just speak to the one remaining report, which is item 5.1, which was around the Shaping SEQ Draft Regional Plan, for which Council will be putting in a submission. This is the plan for the next 10 years of our region, which is very, very important to Logan City Council, because when the SEQ Regional Plan was first being discussed, we were expected to take a huge volume of new residents, more than Brisbane City Council, which is a city nearly triple our size. Through the great work of our staff, thank you to the Director, David Hanson and others, to make sure that the state government understood how much of an impact that would have on our community. We've now got a much better draft sitting before us, but the work still has to be done. We can't rest yet. So the items that we'll be putting submission in on are the urban footprint, that we want to keep it essentially the same. We don't want to see any more urban sprawl in council. We have plenty of places in Logan where people can choose a diversity of housing options. We want to make sure our dwelling targets are reasonable and achievable, not just by our DA team, our development assessment team, but also by the industry that has to construct those houses, and of course financial sustainability. Madam Acting Mayor, you've heard the Mayor speak many times about the black hole of funding that comes through the lack of infrastructure charges due to the cost of greenfield infrastructure that we so often have to build in our city. With the help of the state government, we would like to focus the cost of infrastructure in places where we have existing infrastructure, which keeps it affordable for our community and, most importantly, our ratepayers and the people who are moving to our great city. Madam Acting Mayor, that's all I have on this item, and I will open the floor to my colleagues.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillors, do any of you wish to speak on this item? No? Then I'll hand back to Councillor Raven. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor. I'd like to move that 1, the minutes of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 5th of September 2023 be confirmed, and 2, that the recommendations of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee meeting held on the 5th of September 2023, with the exception of item 5.2, be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Raven has moved the motion. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No? Then I open the floor to vote. Would all those in favour please raise your hand? Thanks, everyone. That has been unanimously supported. Now, in relation to 5.2, Economic Development Strategies Annual Report 2022 to 2023 of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee, I'll now ask Councillor Raven to please take leave of the meeting until the matter has been discussed and voted upon. Thank you. Councillor Stemp, Deputy Chairperson of the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Thank you. At the City Planning, Economic Development and Environment Committee held on the 5th of September 2023, an incorrect motion was displayed on the screen and voted on in the meeting. There is a minor modification that will need to be made to the recommendation at Clause 2 to include sections 171 and 200 of the Local Government Act 2009 as the reasons why the confidential attachment should remain confidential.
Thank you, Councillor Stemp, and I expect we'll see the amended motion displayed on the screen in front of us there. I'll just give you all a moment to read over the motion. Okay, councillors. Councillor Stemp, you've moved the motion. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Bradley. By show of hands, can I see all those in favour? Okay, all right. I'm going to ask you to keep your hands up because we're going to just see if we've first of all carried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's carried. Noting that Councillor Hall, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Thank you. And Councillor Heremiah?
Against.
Thank you. Councillors, just before we move on, did anybody...
Sorry, I also didn't have my hand up.
Oh, my apologies, Councillor. I might actually just take that count again just to make sure that that did in fact carry. So, councillors, can I please see those who are in favour? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Carried? Carried. Thank you. And my apologies. How do you vote, Councillor?
Abstain, thank you.
Abstain. And are any councillors wish to put any reasons forward for why they've their abstention today? No. Okay. Thank you, councillors. That motion has carried. Could I please ask that Councillor Raven be returned to the meeting? Thank you, councillors. I now refer to the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 5th of September 2023. Councillor Lane, Chairperson of City Infrastructure Committee, you may present your report.
Thanks very much, Madam Acting Mayor, and apologies for the use of the word chair before. I when in doubt, refer back to what you know. The City Infrastructure Committee meeting had a change of road name for Tully Road on New Beat. That was as a result of some numbering issues, and I'm sure residents there will be very happy. And also we discussed capital roadworks and drainage programs for the future. Obviously a very, very saucy committee meeting with lots of intrigue and wonder, yeah, it went well. Thank you.
We would expect nothing less from the City Infrastructure Committee, I'm assure you. Councillors, does anybody wish to speak to the report? There being no further speakers, Councillor Lane, you may proceed.
Thank you. I now move that the minutes of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 5th of September 2023 be confirmed, and that the recommendations of the City Infrastructure Committee meeting held on 5th September be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Lane's moved the motion. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Fraser. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No? There being none, I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. And I note that has been unanimously carried. Thank you, councillors. Would any councillors like to record their names against any items or abstain from any items within the committee? No. We'll now refer to the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023. Councillor Hall, Chairperson of the City Lifestyle Committee, could you please present your report?
Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor. At the City Lifestyle Committee last week, councillors received 2 annual reports providing updates and outcomes on the delivery of vital community infrastructure around the City of Logan. The first annual report was from the Sports and Community Infrastructure branch and provided a consolidated update on council's sporting and community infrastructure related to projects for the 2022-2023 financial year. The second annual report advised of the Parks Capital Works program delivery performance for the 2022-2023 period. This program delivers hard and soft landscaping upgrades and capital improvements to parks and street landscaping across the city. Councillors were delighted to hear the key projects, highlights and achievements being planned and delivered for the community. Councillors also considered 2 confidential reports. The first relates to the Everleigh Sports Park and AFL Clubhouse construction, and the second relates to the land acquisition in Logan Village. Further information relating to these reports and outcomes will be shared with stakeholders and community in due course.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Always an exciting committee, City Lifestyle. Do any other councillors wish to speak to any items? No? I hand it back to you, Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor. I now move that the minutes of the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023 be confirmed, and that the recommendations of the City Lifestyle Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Councillor Hall's moved the motion. Can I have a seconder for the motion, please? Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. By a show of hands, can I see those who are in support? Thank you. That has been unanimously supported. Does anyone wish to have their names recorded against any items from the committee? No? Then we'll move on. Councillors, I now refer to the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023. As Councillor Murphy, Chairperson of the City Governance Committee, is on leave at the moment, I'll ask Councillor Fraser, Deputy Chairperson of the City Governance Committee, to proceed. Thank you, Councillor Fraser.
Thank you. I'd like to note that item 5.7, Deferred Confidential Report, Establishment of the Underwood Innovation Lab Beneficial Enterprise of the City Governance Committee meeting, will be addressed later in today's agenda and separated from the bulk adoption of the recommendations in order to clarify the recommendations in relation to the director appointments. I'll now speak to the remainder of the recommendations. So in committee, a few of the highlights were we actually changed the calendar of meeting dates and times for January to April next year, because it made sense, so we talked about that. We updated the terms of reference for council meeting and for the committees. And we also, which was the highlight, I'll say, is the local infrastructure program report. So that's us adopting all the recommendations for the local infrastructure program. So the community gets their speed platforms, they get their park upgrades, they get everything, pretty much. Not everything, but many cool little things. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fraser. It's not even Christmas, goodness me. Would anybody like to speak to any of the items Councillor Fraser has raised? There being no further speakers, Councillor Fraser, you may continue.
Thank you. I now move that number 1, that the minutes of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023 be confirmed, and number 2, that the recommendations of the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023, with the exception of item 5.7, be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Fraser. Councillor Fraser has moved. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Wilcox. And by a show of hands, can I see all those who are in favour? Thank you, everyone. That has been unanimously supported. Would any councillors like to have their names recorded against any items or abstain from any items? No? There being none, we'll now move on to item 5.7. In relation to item 5.7, deferred confidential report, establishment of the Underwood Innovation Lab beneficial enterprise of the City Governance Committee, I'll ask Councillor Fraser, Deputy Chairperson of the committee, to speak to the matter. Thank you, Councillor Fraser.
Thank you. At the City Governance Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023, a recommendation was voted on and carried. However, we will need to seek clarification around Clause 4 of the recommendation in relation to director appointments.
Thank you, Councillor Fraser. Councillors, I note that this is a confidential report and a proposed resolution to move this matter into a closed session is displayed on the screen in front of you. Could I have someone move us into closed session, please? Thank you, Councillor Raven. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Stemp. By a show of hands, could I please see those who are in favour of moving into closed session? That has been unanimously supported with the exception of Councillor Heremiah. How do you vote, Councillor Heremiah?
Against.
And that's fine. We'll now move into closed session. Oh, sorry, Councillor Hall, did you also have your...
Yeah, I'd like to vote against.
I'm going to have to get my prescription checked, councillors. My apologies. That's against. Did we actually record that as Councillor Hall and Councillor Heremiah is against? Thank you. Okay, councillors, we are now in closed session. Okay, thank you everyone. Welcome back. And I'd like to thank Dr. Burt for providing us with his report and recommendations. Councillors, there is a recommendation from last Thursday, I believe it was last Thursday, which will be up on the board in front of you. I'd like you to take a moment to familiarise yourself with the recommendation. Councillor Stemp's asking if we can scroll, just to make sure that you're very clear. Now, this is what went up, of course, in committee. Now, when you are ready, I would call for someone to move the motion on the board. Thank you. That motion has been moved by Councillor Lane. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Please let me know if you need more time. Okay, councillors. Thank you, Councillor Lane. That motion has failed. Councillors, we're looking for an alternate motion. I know that there has been some work done on an alternative. That alternative I'm happy to put up on the board, and I would also like to give you a few moments to consider that option. My understanding is that you've all been fully briefed on the alternative motion, which is before you right now. Do I have someone to... Councillor Stamp.
Sorry, Madam Acting Acting Mayor, sorry. Is it Michael Dickinson or Dickinson? The name is correct? Sorry, just wanted to double check. Sorry.
And Councillor Stamp, we do want to get it right, so thank you. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the question. Once we've all had an opportunity to move the alternate, do I have somebody who would like to move the motion? You have a question, Councillor Herrmeyer, or you're madly keen to move the motion? I wasn't quite sure which one.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to contribute towards the discussion of this motion. Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise today to express some concerns regarding this motion, and it boils down to three reasons. Number one, what's in the confidential report. Number two, what's outside the confidential report. And number three, the process associated with this motion. The first one is that this is a $4 million expense for council. And with any expense, there should be a consideration on return on investment.
Point of order.
A point of order, yes, Councillor Raven?
Misleading. It's a $2.2 million expenditure.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. I understand that that has been amended to 2.2, which was originally 4.4. Is that correct? You may continue, Councillor Herrmeyer, uninterrupted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd like to read out 2A and 2B on the motion to contribute towards that point of order point. Council will be issued with 100 shares at $22,000 per share, and then further funding will be facilitated through an additional 100 shares at $22,000 per share after 9 months in a review. So that is an over $4 million expense. So I'd like to clarify that and actually say this is an expense that is in excess of $4 million. With any investment, there should be KPIs and there should be considerations on return on investment. The financial returns are based on limited assumptions, and the social returns don't even have KPIs attached to them. When we look at a $4 million expense, we should also consider the opportunity costs, and we should do an options analysis on what that $4 million can get in the city. No such information has been provided. When we look at what's outside the confidential report on this motion, it proposes to appoint directors through a closed recruitment process. Now that is concerning because open recruitment should be applied when it comes to public money and things as important as this. Gold Coast City Council in July 2023 stated that an open recruitment process was conducted for a council subsidiary. Through an open recruitment process, they recruited a high talent pool involving Kate Jones and a former premier, and at the same time, they ensured that trust was in this institution and trust was in council because council is spending public money. The third concern that I have is around the process. This motion was presented today. It's a last-minute motion. We don't have all elected representatives here to discuss this motion. We don't have our mayor. We don't have our representative for Division 12, Beenleigh, Eagleby, Jimboomba, we have a lack of representation for those areas, and I think it's important that we have all councillors here to discuss such a huge investment. On top of that, there was no community consultation of any size conducted for this $4 million expense, and there wasn't a direct democratic mandate regarding this motion. So I have serious concerns regarding this, Madam Chair, and I hope that Council makes the right decision regarding this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harrimeyer. Councillor Harrimeyer, did you want to foreshadow an alternate motion?
I'm happy to see if this gets up.
Thank you, Councillor Harrimeyer. I'm going to invite councillors all to have an opportunity to speak. I will remind you, you are in public, so please use your discretion when speaking. At the moment, I did invite whether we had anyone to move the existing motion on the board, and Councillor Harrimeyer spoke at that point. Do I have a mover for the existing motion that is up on the board? I want to know if there's an appetite to move this. So you're volunteering to support the motion. Okay, I have Councillor Wilcox who's supporting the motion. Do I have a seconder for the motion? I've got Councillor Raven seconding the motion. I'd now like to open the floor for discussion. Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you. Whilst I acknowledge we're all not here, and we do still have a quorum, we're here, we've been voted, we're elected, and that's what we're here for. We don't need every single councillor to be sitting here so long as we have a quorum. Just wondering if Darren Scott or Dr. Scott, sorry, confusing with the name, could you elaborate on why the directors have been, why it's been a closed process for this direct 12-month process for these directors? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilcox, for your question. Through the chair, there's two reasons. The first reason was eloquently articulated by Councillor Raven when he pointed out that in relation to, at the time, in order to be able to put a business case to council with appointed or presumptive directors nominated, as part of that business case, in advance of council actually determining whether or not they were going to commit to establish the entity, it would be very difficult, if not impossible, and potentially embarrassing to run a public process for an entity which council may not choose to establish. The second issue in relation to a non-public process, and perhaps to distinguish the unique situation of the Innovation Lab from other government-owned corporations which pursue perhaps more traditional areas of focus, such as tourism, that was nominated by Councillor Harrimeyer. The Innovation Lab and the criteria for the appointment of directors is really quite narrow and specialised, and it's highly unlikely that we would be in a position to be able to attract the kind of, on a very short notice, the kind of directors with qualifications that would support the business any more effectively than running through a private process. The third point would be that, and I'll defer to the CEO on this point, but in establishing an initial board or an interim board where you're looking to really just stand the business up, we're only making appointments for 1 year, whereas traditionally when you're seeking to appoint directors, you're going to be looking to appoint directors for a much longer period of time, and that clearly wasn't our intention, and consistent with the advice that I gave to council previously, and consistent with the MRF, the approach that we're taking for the MRF, the idea would be to establish the business and then run through a public process, not just for the directorial appointments, but actually for all senior executive appointments.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Wilcox?
Totally fine. We've been having the conversation since about May regarding the directors, so all good.
Excellent. Councillors, do we have any other questions from the floor before I put it to the vote? Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With your indulgence, not questions, just speaking to the motion. Councillor Harrimeyer raised a few issues, and one of them was KPIs, that we didn't have KPIs. They're in the business case. The business case is confidential. We can't go into it. I agree with you. Social outcomes are difficult to measure. The non-financial outcomes are difficult to measure. And so how do you KPI on them? And that is the challenge that I would be putting to the board moving forward. How are you going to measure what the non-financial outcomes are of this organisation? How are you going to tell us as a shareholder on behalf of our ratepayers how that benefit is being realised? And that is totally something that we should put to the board. I just wanted to agree with Dr. Burke's comments around the interim nature of this board. So there's a 9-month review. at which time council does not need to commit to the other 100 shares. So this today you're voting for a $2.2 million commitment. This is the extension of an ongoing commitment where councillors invested in the collab for a number of years. And so all of that money, if we stop today, and I don't think we actually want to stop innovation, I'm happy to be corrected, but my understanding is that the vast majority of councillors have expressed support for innovation in the city. Business as usual in government is not working anymore. If we continue to do what we've always done, we will get the exact same outcome we've always got. And if you tell me that the people of Logan want the same outcome that they've had for the last 20 years, I tell you that you're not listening to them. So this is one of the ways, not all of the ways. This isn't like a golden bullet, a panacea for that, but this is one of the ways we can identify ways of doing things differently and better in government and in this council. This conversation, while I acknowledge that this recommendation has been finalised today, this conversation has been going on for months around what the directors look like, how we're going to structure this organisation. So to imply that there's something suspicious or wrong about the process, it's been a very long process. It's been reviewed by QTC. Every hurdle that has been put in the way of this entity coming into being has been jumped. It has been overcome, and councillors now have all the information they need to make the decision. Would I have liked this recommendation on the board last Thursday? 100%. I would have loved that. And I want to commend Councillor Heremiah for the things he said in confidential that the public will never hear, but he made some very good governance points about how to structure this, and I want to commend him for that because he was right on the money and we followed that process. So thank you, Councillor Heremiah. But I don't agree that we should defer this again when we've been talking about it since May. The option is there to discuss. I'm very happy to second the motion, as I've indicated, and I'll be supporting it. I think that the 9-month review is prudent, and being able to wrap it up 3 months after that, if we're not happy, or bring it back into the organisation if councillors still want to see innovation as part of the agenda, I think that is a decision for a future council, and I trust that council to make that decision in the interest of the community. Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Lane.
Thank you very much. I voted on the original and I moved the original motion because I thought that going out to a public option for one of the board members wasn't a bad idea. I look at this motion and what I see is the opportunity for IT to come into the city. I see the opportunity for jobs to come in the future, jobs that kids in my area will take up, jobs that will actually be local, jobs where they can actually grow and learn and earn an income. That's what I see in this motion. Dr. Burke, you're paid a decent amount of money by the ratepayers of Logan to come up with ideas that actually work in this sphere, and we have in fact funded on multiple occasions ideas that push us forward into becoming a hub for IT. I've seen councillors, I've seen the acting mayor at events, I've seen Councillor Hall at local events, Councillor Russell and Councillor Raven, Councillor Wilcox, where they've actually pushed and shown us how far they can go and how high they can reach when they actually work as a collective. And that's exactly what this proposes to do, in my mind and in what I've read from this. It's an aspiration for my community, and I will be supporting this motion today because I want the very best for the kids coming forward, and I want them to have opportunity, and I do not want you to fail.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Do I have any other councillors who'd like to make any further comment? Councillor Heremiah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise today as I was directly mentioned 6 times in the previous remarks. It was also mentioned that it's near impossible to run an entity that hasn't been established and involve a public recruitment process. My concern around that is there are many different experienced people, especially in Australia, that could be used on the board, but without going to public, we don't know that they've had the opportunity to apply. Let's say one of the most prolific IT and innovation person in Australia, Mike Cannon-Brooks, the CEO of Atlassian, wanted to be a part of this board and wanted to be a part of innovation within our city. Did he get an opportunity to apply for this? Did the founder of Canva, one of Australia's great innovative companies, get an opportunity to apply for this? And with the current motion, the answer is no. I don't think that's serving our people in the best way. We can support innovation, and we shouldn't equate this motion with supporting innovation. Councillors can vote against this motion. Councillors can think this motion can be better and at the same time support innovation in our city. Many people argue that there actually hasn't been evidence put forward to show that this is supporting innovation in the best way possible. We don't have an options analysis. So I think it's important not to equate this motion with supporting innovation. You can support innovation without supporting this motion. And thank you, and I thank you for the indulgence, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors? Councillor Hall.
I'd just like to ask the question, what about the innovation being created by our existing businesses? Are we that unfaithful on the businesses already here that we need to create beneficial enterprises to compete with them for funding and grant opportunities? I have faith in the businesses we already have in Logan. I believe the innovation will come from them. I believe council does need to be innovative, but not in this direction by competing for grant funding against our existing businesses already in Logan.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Any other councillors? All right, councillors, you have a motion on the board in front of you. It has a mover, it has a seconder, and we'll open the floor to vote. Can I please ask that you hold your hand up high so we can see which way you vote? Those in favour of the motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's carried, yes? Okay, I'm going to go round the room one at a time, ask how you vote, and for any councillors who might have abstained from voting, you are welcome to provide a reason for the record if you would like. Beginning on my left, Councillor Bradley.
Thank you. I didn't speak in the public domain, but I applaud Councillor Jeremiah, who's also done the company director's course, which I have done, and I am voting against. Thank you.
Councillor Lane.
4.
Councillor Russell.
4.
Councillor Raven.
4.
Councillor Hall.
I'm abstaining and I'd like to provide a reason.
Please.
I, Councillor Hall, do not support local government being involved in or creating beneficial enterprise or public money being spent towards it. Number 2, I, Councillor Hall, do not support local government creating entities that will compete with already established local businesses for funding and grant opportunities or public money being put towards it.
Thank you, Councillor Hall. Councillor Fraser.
4.
Councillor Jeremiah.
Against.
Councillor Stem.
4.
Councillor Wilcox.
4.
And my vote is also to abstain, and I have a reason that I'd like to put on the record, and it is, whilst I support council having an interest in innovation for the future of our city, I'm not supportive of this particular model of a beneficial enterprise, and I'd prefer to bring this in back into council for management. Thank you, councillors, and could I just say I'd really like to commend you all on the debate. I know this has been a tough one. I know there'll be a lot of people who'll be pleased that this has been resolved, so thank you, councillors. Thank you, Dr. Burke. Okay, councillors, moving on. I believe that brings us to the end of the committee report for city governance today, so we don't have any late reports to consider. Do any councillors have any petitions to present today? No petitions today. We have no notified motions to consider. And I'd now like to take the opportunity to open the floor to general business. And today we'll be starting with Division 3 with Councillor Russell. No Councillor Russell, no Councillor Raven. Councillor Hall?
Thank you, Madam Acting Mayor. I'd just like to let the community know and let council know that this morning I received a letter from one of our younger residents. I've decided to do this in general business. It's a thank you letter, and it says, "Dear Tony, thank you for keeping our parks safe," from Izzy and Odie. I'd like to acknowledge that I received the letter, but I'd also like to say we as councillors, we do care a lot about the safety and security of our parks and of our city. But there's also a lot of other people involved who help make those places safe as well. So I'd like to extend the thanks of this letter over to the people in the lifestyle portfolio, mainly Brad White, the Director of Community and Lifestyle, Carolyn King, the Parks Capital Project Delivery Coordinator, and Candy Rosamarine, the Parks Design Coordinator. These are some of our unsung heroes, and there are many more people involved in keeping our parks safe. So I'd like to extend the thanks from this letter over to them as well, because they're the real heroes. Thank you.
How lovely, Councillor Hall. Very nice indeed. Councillor Fraser, Councillor Jeremiah, Councillor Stamp, Councillor Wilcox.
Thank you so very much. For the past 2 weeks, I have been out door knocking or letterbox dropping all of the residents in Harvest Rise Estate. And I've been seeking their feedback on Colville Park and Logan West Parklands. And I'd like to thank the residents who opened their doors, and if they weren't home, they emailed, phoned, texted, had a chat to me about what they would like to see in their local parks. Their feedback has been terrific, and I really would like to thank them. So I've actually got plans in motion, and I'd like to let everyone know. Stage 1 upgrades will see disc golf added to the Logan West Parklands and some minor equipment embellishments to Colville Park, so the little ones in the estate can actually have a more user-friendly park experience. Stage 2 will see more upgrades in Logan West Parklands that will incorporate more sporting areas, and hopefully for the teenagers, because when you walk Harvest Rise, there are so many basketball hoops on the roads and on the footpaths. It's incredible. So hopefully we'll see more sporting fields, basketball, Ninja Warrior type embellishments and that sort of thing for the older kids so they can get out and have something to do. And I'm also pleased to advise those residents that I didn't tell this to, that Councillor Fraser and I have jointly funded the concrete footpath, and it will connect from the top of Harvest Rise, so on the corner of Vineyard Drive, and will go around to the traffic lights around near Park Ridge State High School, so people can walk all the way from Harvest Rise either to school or over to the Park Ridge shops over in Councillor Jeremiah's area. And we're very excited to see that this funding has been secured and that it should be delivered hopefully by the end of the year. If not, it will be delivered just in time for the start of the school year, I'm sure, and I know that many residents are looking forward to this project being delivered. So I really want to thank everyone for all of their time, having a chat, and it actually took me 2 weeks purely because of the amount of people actually stopped and really had a good chat and that sort of thing, and gave me all the feedback and ideas for the local area. And I can't wait to see the improvements in the park and the local community so that they can enjoy, love and take pride and ownership in their local area. So thank you so much, everyone.
Sounds like exciting times ahead, Councillor Wilcox. Councillor Bradley. Councillor Lane.
Thank you very much. I've got a couple of items today. Woodridge State School held their Fear Night last week, and it was an absolute amazing display of how a Pacific community can come together. There were kids from Cambodia, there were kids, First Nations kids, there were little redheads running around, but they were actually running around and doing cultural dances from New Zealand, from Samoa, from Tonga, and they loved every moment of it. It's a real testament to the school bodies that they actually capture those kids and make them a part of something that is just terrific and wonderful. So congratulations to the staff from Woodridge State School. Logan City Netball Association held their representative awards evening on Saturday night. I went down to that, and what they did was they showed their players that they care about them, that they respect them, that they admire them, and that they encourage them in every step of the way through their netball career and their life. It was an amazing event and absolutely fantastically done, so congratulations to Tracy and the team there. The season's over for Logan Brothers. Trophy Day's this Saturday, and I know that Councillor Raven is going along. I'm heading along. I don't know who else is going, don't care. Logan Roos lost in the final for their seniors. It was really unfortunate. They played against Brazza, and apparently they're super fabulous. So 3-1 loss was a really good outcome for a team that only got together this year and smashed it out of the ballpark against every other Logan team. Absolutely magic. Logan Metro had a cracker of a year with their mini roos going great gangbusters, and Logan Metro is a growing group in our community. But the last one that I would like to raise, Madam Acting Mayor, is Pam and Les Marshall. They've been stalwarts in our community for over 40 years at the Logan City Cricket Club, which is actually winding up soon. And they are amazing people. They have gone out, rain, hail or shine, and maintained that pitch in those fields for many decades. They've done it without the support of sometimes their players and their executive, and they are two amazing people in our community. And hopefully at the next committee meeting I foreshadow changing one of the field names to Marshall Fields in the future. Thank you.
It's always a great city, and I love to hear all the stories from all four corners of our city. I'm very proud to be a representative here, as I know each of you are. And to the councillors, thank you for all the great work you do every day representing your communities. That concludes our agenda for today's meeting, and I now declare the meeting of the Ordinary Council closed at 11:31 a.m. Have a great day, everyone.